In 2002, the first Ratchet & Clank game for the PlayStation 2 was released. It was a 3D action platformer that followed the adventures of an anthropomorphic creature named Ratchet, a Lombax, a fictional feline-based humanoid, and a sentient robot named Clank, as they traveled the universe defending it from evil forces. Since then, the series has become a franchise, and even has its own comic and feature film. With over 15 years worth of awesome games, it should come as no shock that there's a lot to learn about the franchise. So today, we're counting down the top 10 Ratchet & Clank surprising facts. At number 10, development. It took a while for developers Insomniac Games to settle on a premise for the game that would eventually become Ratchet & Clank. The game went into planning prior to the release of their last Spyro the Dragon game, Spyro Year of the Dragon. Not wanting to continue with that franchise, they were in search of a new character and story, and had come up with an idea that incorporated Tomb Raider, The Legend of Zelda, and Girl with a Stick. But this didn't get the team overly excited though, nor did it manage to enchant Sony. Instead, one of the team came up with an idea of a reptilian creature flying through space, Brian Hastings to be exact, and then that idea morphed into a caveman flying through space, which then morphed into a mechanic accompanied by a robot flying through space. Ah, the creative process. In at number 9, Ratchet Color Test. In the early days when the game was being developed, Insomniac wasn't sure what color their main protagonist should be, so of course they did a color test. While some of them are pretty neat, I think most fans would be satisfied not playing an entirely green or purple Ratchet. In at number 8, the games. There are 14 games in total in the Ratchet & Clank franchise. They've sold over 26 million copies worldwide, with the fastest selling game being the 2016 PS4 Ratchet & Clank. The highest rated Ratchet & Clank game is Up Your Arsenal, with an average rating of 91% on most gaming review sites. And the lowest rated? Full Frontal Arsenal, with an average of 64%. In at number 7, Ratchet's personality. While the games have received generally positive reviews, their lead character didn't get a lot of love right off the bat. Ratchet's initial reception praised voice actor Mikey Kelly's performance, but criticized the character's personality, calling him bland, rude, and immature. By the time Going Commando came out, Ratchet got a bit of a makeover. IGN noted that he was no longer a, I quote, angry, selfish teenage furry, and instead he was wiser and more forgiving. And at number 6, developers. Insomniac Games are the only developers to work on a Ratchet & Clank game. While Sony has consistently had the rights to publishing, there have been 6 other developers besides Insomniac to take up the franchise's helm. This includes High Impact Games, Sanzaru Games, Nihilistic Software, Idle Minds, Tin Giant, and Mass Media. These developers were primarily responsible for developing the games on different consoles, like the PS Vita, or in different continents, like the European releases of the games, or on other Sony games that included the title characters, like PlayStation Move Heroes. And at number 5, Ninja Sword. While Ratchet has some pretty cool weapons at his disposal, there's one cheat that you can use in Ratchet & Clank 3 that will give you a ninja sword, or rather a ninja lightsaber sword. If you pause the game, doesn't matter where or when, and hit the buttons circle, square, up, down, left, your wrench will disappear and be replaced with a ninja sword that's basically a lightsaber. And at number 4, Sewer Labyrinth. The Ratchet & Clank games are filled with Easter eggs to discover and explore, one of which is the sewers in Up Your Arsenal. The sewer level first appears as just another level in which you have to fight off enemies and advance through, but once you've done that, you can actually go back and explore the sewers more once you have the gravity boots. Turns out there's a whole sewer labyrinth down there that you don't travel through in that level, which contains other enemies and sewer crystals. If you're playing in challenge mode and collect 101 sewer crystals, you'll actually get 2 million bolts out of it. Not too shabby. And at number 3, titillation. In the first Ratchet & Clank video game, there's a woman that you can speak to who is advertising a hoverboard race that you can join in on to get some bolts. But apparently that's not all she does. Turns out if you do backflips in front of her continuously, her breasts inflate. But unfortunately you'll eventually hit a limit though. They're not gonna fill up your screen, friends. And at number 2, Dan Johnson. Dan Johnson, one of the level designers for Insomniac Games, has appeared in almost all of the Ratchet & Clank games. How so? Well, he appears as an Easter egg in different ways. In the first game, he's on a computer monitor that you can find in Blarg Station when you go into the first-person mode. In Nexus, you can find a secret gold statue of him. In 2008's Quest for Booty, you can find an action figure of him. And then again in 2016's PS4 version of the game. There's a stack of action figures on top of a crate in the Insomniac Museum, and you can even equip it and become him in the appearance settings if you have enough gold bolts. He's also available as a skin in multiple games. And finally, in at number 1, concept art levels. Speaking of the Insomniac Museum, Museum, did you know that most of the games have secret levels that are dedicated to exhibiting concept art or assets that were removed from the finished game? In the PS4 Ratchet & Clank, it's the Insomniac Museum located in a hangar. In Size Matters, it's in a treehouse. And in Up Your Arsenal, it's also referred to as the Insomniac Museum, but an earlier 2004 version, and has a very different look. Plus, it contains minigames like driving around in a turbo slider. Alright, there we have it, friends. Did you know all of these facts? Would you like more videos on Ratchet & Clank? Let us know in those comments below. And if you dug this video, why not give us a like and hit that subscribe button? Or maybe share it with a friend. Or check out our recent uploads playlist for more great gaming vids. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I've been Kelly Pally, and this has been Top 10 Gaming. Catch you all in the next one.